That's little kid abs right there. There you go. Little kid abs. Hey guys, Justin Skinner here. It will be fun, and today I'm bringing you a very special guest for this episode, Captain Vanover.
Full set. What's up, guys?
So everybody's been wanting some practice videos, how he specifically goes about practice. People have asked me also, but we've just been really lazy, and so we're gonna tag team this one. And I came out to Camp Vanover. As you see behind me, there's hangars. We're actually on the outer edge of Camp Vanover. That's the whole airport. It's just now gonna be known as Camp Vanover. And so what we're doing is we're gonna talk a little bit about what kind of drills does Captain Vanover do, and why is this important? So I want to talk about, let's look at better sun. I want to talk about something. Okay, this kid, not many people knew him prior to 2017 Nationals in Reno, or maybe even IO. That's when he started to become a little bit known. You got a little sun right there.
I do.
You got a little muffin right there.
I felt it there. It was good.
All right. So no one really knew him before then when he started putting up fast times, being as fast as Banny UK and all the top guys out there at IO. But here's what you don't know. So he's a local Texan, and back in, May of 2017 before he left, me and him were kind of going back and forth at local events, and when we get together in practice, we were about the same speed. But then he goes and takes a hiatus. He goes up to Mr. Miyagi's place in, where was it?
Bob Moz's place in Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Oshkosh, Wisconsin. He goes up there and he comes back a ninja, a bleeping ninja. And so let's talk about a little bit, what'd you do up there and what really changed, your whole flying game in those, 3 months?
Yeah, it was really only about a month and a half, truthfully, because I was working a lot of the time. And the biggest thing for me was I realized that going out just flying around willy-nilly and just setting up courses how I used to wasn't going to help me very well. It wasn't going to help me very much, rather. And once I realized that, I changed the way I practiced, so I started setting up drills. So at that time, regional finals was a very popular topic. Everyone was trying to hit 6 laps. The course was very difficult. And so I really wanted to go do well at regional finals and prove to myself that I could be fast just like a lot of these other guys. So I set up drills. I set up parts of the course, and then never really practiced with anyone but myself. And then I went out to regional finals and never flew the course and hit 6 laps and a few times. And it was really humbling to me because just by setting up little things and practicing those little things, it made me a way better pilot overnight. So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
And if Captain Vanover is nothing else, he is humble. Okay, so what we've done here today, I came out to Camp Vanover to study from the master. So he's 10 years my junior, but he is a badass on the course. And so I don't care what your age is. If you're awesome, I'm gonna look up to you. I wanna learn from you. And that's what I'm out here doing today. So we actually have a full course set up, as you can see. Go ahead and talk about your what you set up. So what is this section right here?
Okay, so right here we're looking at let's start with the first section.
Okay.
We'll just jump into the case.
Let's do this, I'll follow you.
We got the intro. Okay, so me personally, this is both to help It Will Be Fun, Justin Skinner, and myself, because quite frankly, I need drastic improvement in a lot of areas, and so does Justin, so do a lot of other pilots. The only way to do that, set up drills, get better. This first section right here may just look like 2 quad diction gates if you want to fly, but it's really more than that. It's basically a Type 180 section. And with the wind that we have blowing today, I factored in that if we have a hard 180 section right here, it's going to force us to fly more precise because we're going to have a strong headwind going this way around the flag, trying to push us into the flag, and then we're going to have a strong tailwind trying to push us right into this gate right here. So I figured it'd be really good practice, as the gate is totally moving in the wing because I didn't stake it down. That's part of the challenge. That we would try this, and this is just one of the elements that I set up. And believe it or not, just little basic elements such as 180s and straightaways can actually really improve your flying.
So right here, we're gonna be hitting this gate, wrapping around that flag, and hitting this gate right here, coming back out. And the reason he said he wanted to set this up was because at Sebring, we had that Type 180 under the wing of a plane, and just having the extra obstacle there, really, he said he was slowing him down. He wanted to work on speeding it up. So to make it just like that, as close as we could, I mean, we're actually at an airport. We can go find a plane.
Even an airplane right there.
We can go find a plane. And by the way, we do have permission to fly here. Give this spiel real quick.
Yeah, so I've lived out here all my life, done RC airplane flying all my life out here. I have permission, airport owner, etc. FAA, please don't come after me. I have permission to fly out here, and I'm abiding by all the rules per the airport manager and FAR.
So we got the gate right here to keep you really tight. You have to hit this gate. go around the flag, and you have to be controlled. You can't just go full throttle and blast around the corner, because you have to come back around and have that pinpoint precision to hit this gate right here.
Right.
And so would you recommend, when we're working this, we're gonna work each section alone by itself, how many batteries would you put in working just this one section, doing this over and over again?
So from what I've experimented personally, I find that if you put, it depends. If you're really struggling with the section, such as a gate slalom, right, or a hard 180, the more batteries, the better. But truthfully, you don't want to get so caught up on one section, because chances are, if you keep flying the same section over and over, you're gonna, one, be really bored, but number two, you're gonna start stressing yourself out too much. You're gonna be flying at such a high pace eventually to where you're only trying to drop those milliseconds, which is unnecessary. The whole point of this right here today is just to make us better pilots, be more controlled and more consistent around the course.
Get comfortable with a certain element, this element here.
So I would recommend maybe no more than 2 batteries per little element, especially these elements that we have right here are rather small. Like a 180 section, it is a tight element and one that is hard to master, but at the same time, I wouldn't recommend flying more than 2 batteries through, because at the end of the day, we're gonna fly this whole course together, and that's where you're really gonna be able to.
So 2 batteries this section, 2 batteries the next section, yes. 2 batteries that section, and put it all together?
Yes, and kind of the way I look at it is, I play piano, and what I learned in piano is you didn't just play the whole song unless you're like Beethoven or something like that, and like we're not all mid-chin in this scenario. So like what I would do is I would learn sections of the song, and that's how I was taught, and it's kind of the same thing here. Even when I go out to a big event, you know, you obviously fly the whole course, but you really focus on each individual section, and then you start to make it one consistent line. So that's
okay, let's check out the next section.
That next section is, I think, Justin here, it will be fun, actually kind of called it, what are we saying, this a staggered slalom?
Yeah, it's a staggered slalom. This is a 4 flag slalom. It's not perfectly spaced out like you normally see, where it's just gate in a straight line. I call that a straight line slalom, which is the easiest slalom, I think. And then this is a staggered slalom, where you have gate, pretty close. You have a pretty big, as you see, they're not in a line.
And here's the other thing too, the distance between the gates actually increases or decreases per one. So even though it definitely is kind of wavy like this, the actual distance in between them is changed. So all the elements with it are changing, and that will really make you, in my opinion, fly tighter to the flags, faster through the flags, and also help you with your consistency.
You can't
beeline it.
You can't beeline it, and you can't just base it on a rhythm that you would get with a normal straight line slalom. And this is going to be a little different. You have to actually pay attention to what you're flying, and you can't fly it blind. What do they call it? Minchans, or Sean Taylor calls it the Minchan, where you fly it blind based off the rhythm.
Right. So anyhow, so that's we'll talk more about this later. But this is basically
wind.
Staggered slalom.
There's too much wind.
It's basically just a staggered slalom. We'll talk more about it later. But we're going to go and move on to the next part of the course. So, and I say next part of the course, these are supposed to be individually set up. Anyhow, so around the flag, this is quite possibly one of the more hard elements for pilots to master right now. This is one I really want to set up because I'm flying regional qualifiers course for fun. Justin's flying to obviously qualify. This is somewhat of an element from the regional regionals. So this is, I guess you could call it a power loop up and over. I'm not really sure what to call it personally.
Yeah, where you go through the gate. You have to pretend there's a level line right here. Just like regional qualifiers, and then you come back through on this gate. So you're hitting the gate from here, you're going up and over, and you can't go on the outside of the gate. You can't go out there because you got to pretend there's a flag right there at that pole, or at that edge pole, because that's how the regional qualifier is. So we're basically practicing one of the more, would you say difficult, or just something that could save you a lot of time if you get it right?
I think that it's really easy to do like the first time, but when you start coming at it with a lot of speed, you end up botching it by going too far out.
Too far, blowing it. This is a corner in itself if you think about it, because you hit right there, and if you have too much speed, you're going to go way up trying to get that speed off before you cut back in. Whereas if you come in with a little bit less speed, a little more control, you can just ride up and over and right back through.
Right, exactly. And one of the ways I actually set this up today is later on we're going to be flying from that slalom over to here. So on the regional qualifiers, it actually comes in at this gate from a right turn. We're doing a left turn, and the reason for that is I don't want to make it too challenging. That's really important to note when you set up drills or courses. Try not to make it too challenging to where you just end up breaking all your stuff and walk home very frustrated. I tried that, it didn't work out very well. So by doing this and actually keeping it a little bit flowy, as I like to call it, but also not too challenging, but still hard enough to where you're pushing yourself, I think that's the best thing to do. So anyhow, loop, de-loop, gate, overhead, whatever you call it. Now, this gate right here is actually part of the next element, and this is by far, without a doubt, the hardest element. I guarantee you, No one else is out practicing this right now.
It's tough. I already tried it once.
Because it is, this is something that I don't want to say I pioneered, but I was one who definitely helped gain popularity with this element by spreading the word and posting videos. This is a gate slalom. So imagine a flag slalom, and this helps you in 2 ways. And we'll show you what it looks like. This helps you with a normal flag slalom, and then it also helps you when it comes to being really precise through the gates. So one important element to add here is we have these set up as 4 foot. So this is already really hard as 5 foot, and we're setting up as 4 foot. And the reason for that is we want to be able to fly as precise as we possibly can. So in this case, the smaller the gates, the tighter we have to fly, the better. You go through this gate after the power loop, or whatever. Then you go to this gate, right over here, this next beautiful gate. You go to this gate, you go to this gate, and we'll walk it as we go down. But it's basically just a slalom. And the first time I actually got to do one of these was in South Korea for the IDSC competition. And it was actually a gate slalom with a hurdle, which I'm sure we'll do videos about another day. But today's just a gate slalom, and I found it was super tricky to do, and no pilots had ever done it before.
I'm sure he has a video, so I'm gonna link to it above. That way you can go check it out.
Anyhow, so we set it up today because Justin hasn't gotten to fly these much. I haven't gotten to fly them much, and I do believe this is an element that's going to be out of nowhere put up at like a national open or something, because truthfully it's one of the harder elements to fly. But if you can master it, not only will your precision through gates get better, but also when you take a normal flag slalom, you're going to be hitting that thing so ridiculously fast. The whole goal with the gate slalom is, and this usually takes a few more batteries than other stuff to master, you should start at it very slowly. And the whole goal being you get the precision right, and then once you get the speed down, you just forget that the gates are even there. Not to be shameless plug, but if you go watch my Chicago video, you'll actually see there was a gate slalom there, and you get to the point with it where you forget that the gates are there, and it's just like picturing flags.
So what are you doing? Are you rolling it, or what's your input as you're going through?
It depends on your speed. So you should start off slow just to learn it. Today it's actually even more tricky because we actually have a tailwind, about a 15-20 with gusts to 20-mile-an-hour tailwind, pushing this way, so it's going to be pushing us from gate to gate.
Faster, yeah.
So the slower you go, and you're really going to have to be pulled back with this wind when you fly it the first time. You're really using a lot of yaw because you're trying to aim from gate to gate. And with a 4-gate slalom, it's even more tricky because in a normal 3-gate slalom, you can line up the first 2 gates and then punch for the last one. But with this, you have 4 gates, so you really need to picture it as flags and just do gate, gate, gate. So the faster you go, the less yaw you're using, the more roll you're using. And the slower you go, the more yaw. And then we come back around to here.
All right.
So
I just thought of something. Another reason I'm out here at Camp Vanover is not only just to learn from him, but it's also to work on improving, because I suck. I'm here because I suck. But it's also to work on improving or changing up a couple of my habits that have been hurting me at races, such as standing. I fly and stand up because I move around a lot, and I'm sure you've seen a video if you're following NV Astro on Instagram. He posted a video a while back where he basically recorded me flying and moving and dodging gates. Well, when I'm doing that, the controller is not staying stationary, it's moving around with me too. And when the angle of the transmitter changes, the finger positioning and the range of motion also changes, and it's not consistent. And so I may start off flying very controlled, but by the end of the race I'm looking pretty uncontrolled, and that's because the transmitter is in a different angle and I'm not as in control because of that. And so this whole week I put in about, my transmitter says an hour of flight time this week with him. That's actually pure flight time, all sitting down. And it's a struggle. I've crashed more, but it's something I'm changing personally, trying to change at least. And another one of my goals out here this week was to work on consistency, not crashing as much, and I've actually failed at that. I've crashed a shit ton. So that's one thing right there. But what we're gonna do right now is we're going to treat this as if he's teaching you, but I'm gonna be flying. And it's because he's gonna critique. Oh, that was awesome. That was so awesome. He's going to critique my flying as I'm doing the drills. His battle cry is his own name. I just want you to know that. His battle cry. Alex Vanover! At least you're not saying Captain Vanover.
Piece of crap. What?
Nothing. Nothing. Don't worry about me. But so I'm gonna start flying. I'm gonna do one drill at a time. He's going to watch and give feedback per drill. And there's 4 different drills. Are we treating the over and under as one or as part of the slalom?
One.
Okay, so there's gonna be 4 drills. I'll run each drill a few times, and he's gonna give me feedback on how I can improve and what you as a pilot should be focusing on also when doing these drills. So here we go.
So when you're doing a course like this, the first thing you should do, I fly over the course to start with, and this just kind of feel out the quad. So you kind of feel out, you know, what you're going to be doing, especially with the first element. So yeah, you're just flying kind of over top. You're not really going through gates or anything like that. You're just kind of learning the lines. I even do this at big events too. Gate. So you just kind of get the rhythm, and then you can go and start working on the first drill. We're just going to do this 180 section. And so really the first like half battery is kind of what I call the experimental phase. This is what I did in the summer, and you're just basically kind of learning it. Obviously we've done a lot of 180s, but this is really going to be about fine-tuning it. And so it's also important to remember that in this case the 180 is going to be the start. So he's going to be coming out this first gate with a lot of speed. So once he gets more comfortable, it'll help him to go farther back like that, and then basically punch into it. And now the next time in the future when he's flying the course, he comes around, he's actually going to be coming at it from an angle, like a turn. So really doing both things is going to help him a lot.
So you want me to come in like as if I'm coming in from this section over here?
Yes, exactly. So I mean, we'll have a start obviously where we're shooting to the first gate, but also you're going to have this turn. So I like to give myself plenty of space, even if I lose maybe a few milliseconds. The reason being is I figured if I might be a few milliseconds late through the gate, but if you have a better long-lasting line, you're gonna pass anyone else.
So by that, I'm just gonna clarify, by that you mean instead of coming right here and pulling a really tight line like that, you're gonna go out more?
Yep. And you see when you come through there, you can punch it faster.
Yeah.
And now if you can master it, once you get comfortable enough, you can really, I mean, you can definitely take it at a corner faster. But like right there is about what I would take it at in a normal race. It gives you enough time to react, you know. We're not all Min-Chan.
Is that more like it right there?
That's more like it.
So okay, question.
Answer.
When you're looking at this angle right here, so say for this one specifically, and you're coming in, are you wanting to come in straight? Are you going to be coming in at it straight even, like you go out far enough to come in straight, or is coming in like this okay still too?
That's perfect what you just did right there.
That was a better line?
And the reason being is you have to think 2 gates ahead. So you're coming out at an angle, but you're going to be making a right turn. So you don't want to be beelining straight at the flag because then you're going to overshoot the next turn. So you have to think 2 seconds ahead, really. So just like that. That looks really good. And then you keep that flow going.
Okay.
And
so
yeah.
When it comes to this 180, now I'm doing it out of habit. Like I can't really explain exactly what I'm doing. But when I go for the 180, I'm keeping my pitch down, my nose down around it. But I know. Do you think that's better than rolling around like that?
I think it's honestly about your flying style. I think you're going to be a little bit smoother, more consistent with a little bit of yaw. But it comes down to pilot preference, and really it also comes down to how much camera tilt you're on.
So the yaw and keeping your nose down?
Yep.
Okay.
I agree. And even what I'm doing is, and we like to refer to this as the Min-Chan bump. Right when I come around here, I can even bump it into the gate. Now I do it a little bit sooner than what you just did.
So you're talking about like this?
Yep. And the reason you don't need to do it too extreme.
Oh, battery.
Yep. The reason you don't need to do that too extreme is you got to think ahead to the next gate. But in that case, that was pretty good. That was actually really smooth flying. Good job.
We're still recording.
We're still recording.
I'm just gonna change battery real quick, and we're gonna go on to the next section.
So let me tell you guys about the history, the wanted to know history of Captain Vanover. I was the first quad diction team pilot, the favorite quad diction team pilot.
Technically, Adam was the first.
Be quiet. And
Adam FPV.
I am the favorite of the group by all means. There's no question about it. And I mean, the reason's quite frank. I mean, I'm the youngest. I'm the best looking. I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of things. This guy's just jealous. Why don't you keep working on the video, please? Anyhow. This episode is brought to you by the letter F. Failure.
Alright, which one down? Slalom?
Yeah, we'll do the slalom. Ideally, important to clarify, I know he's just getting audio, but hopefully he uses this. It's really important to practice each element as much as you need to for your physical piloting needs. Usually it's about 2 to 3 batteries for me, sometimes more or less, because it's really important that you master all the elements before putting the pieces of the puzzle together. But in this case, just for the sake of video and time,
1 battery or less a piece.
1 battery or less a piece.
Just enough to get the information for
In the slalom, he'll probably take a full battery. So, to go ahead,
All right, so before I go into it, what should I be thinking about?
So you got to think about how you're going to enter this slalom first off.
Okay.
So the first few times you go at it just to learn what the lines are going to be.
As if I'm coming from the other element?
Yes, as if you're coming from the other element, and then we'll talk about how to actually take the slalom itself.
Okay, so the first element, it's this.
Yep, and then you're doing a big turn there, okay? And just kind of learn the first two times through here, just kind of learn it, and then I'll come back to you don't need to worry about overhead flying those others. And now when I do drills, I usually like to put the pieces of the puzzle together. So we already learned the first element, so it's worth flying that first element and then fly the second. Now this next time, what I want you to do is I want you to aim for the tops of those flags.
Top?
The tops. And don't even worry about getting close, just aim for the tops. Keep it high. So there you go.
Why is that?
And so you're gonna find here, once I tell you to take it tighter this next time around, you're gonna find that aiming for the top of it will actually make you go faster through it, from personal experience. So you kind of overshot it, and the reason for that I think is, and it's okay to overshoot right now, we're practicing. The reason for that is you can keep the speed up, you can kind of aim down at the flags. If you need to go faster, you can just pitch for more speed. Like that was completely unnecessary what you just did.
You said pitch forward, I was just trying.
No, I meant like, it's not min-champ pitch. I mean like if you need a little bit, you shouldn't be too aggressive in the slalom. The tighter you take the slalom, the faster you're gonna go through it. So aim really close to the tops of the gates. Like not just trying to get flag height, but get as close as you physically can to them. So this one's a little wide, tight, 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 like that, okay? Now it's really unnatural at first and you feel like you're gonna lose speed, but once you master that, you're gonna take it so much tighter and you don't need to be as heavy on the throttle. It's really also gonna help the efficiency of your quad. So tight. Oh.
Now, question, when you're going through it, what is your throttle doing? Should I be pumping it like this between every one of them? Or should I be holding it kind of and just cruising through?
Yes and no. You need to, it's really something you have to feel like every time you take this slalom is gonna be a little bit different, but it is kind of a pump. So if you end up playing some of my DVR, you'll see how I take it. I kind of like to sway back and forth. Like that was a lot better that time. So as I approach the flag, my quad's slowing down and then I'm starting to roll to the next flag. So power, and,
dang.
A little bit down. Maybe he'll be able to turn mode. Again. Oh, I'll tell you all when I see you again. When I see you again. Oh. Cut. Just got it. Captain Vanover.
What I'm gonna try again, we're going back to the slalom. And at the slalom, I'm focusing on what his lessons were. So,
there you go, that was much better. A little low on that last one.
the last one, yeah, I came down.
And you're gonna go wide on that one too because you're aiming for another gate in the future, but right now just, stay focused on it, but do keep in mind you're aiming for another gate after that.
So, in the break, so right here, when you're talking about aiming at the top of the flag and rolling, we're not gonna be beelining it, we're going to be, instead of aiming directly, like this is directly at it, and turning, we're going to be going a little wide, right? So, right here, we'll come around this one, and it'll be a little wide, and then you hug it as you're going by it, right?
Yeah.
Not like beeline to it, but make it a line instead of a beeline and boom, you're gonna go wide and then pull, like you're pulling through it basically.
Now this is important to note, this is a staggered slalom, and with the normal slalom, I would just take it straight on and just use roll, but most people don't ever fly staggered slalom, so this is why we're showing you today, because it really is completely different than a normal slalom. The strategy is not necessarily the same. So, go hug. And I like to give it a little bit of power too when I go in to hug it. Not too much so you don't blow yourself into the flag, but that just keeps the speed up, and yeah, it seems to work well. The first time I did a slalom like this was in Phoenix Cup, actually. It was a lot of fun. Really challenged me.
All right, anything else you got to cover on the slalom?
Nope, we're gonna move on to the next part. It's just one of those things you gotta practice it more. Justin's starting to get it, but obviously more practice is nice. And now we're gonna talk about the power loop section.
Woo, that was tight. That was a little risky.
Yep, so we're just gonna work on this section right now because it's, oh, you're gonna waste your battery everywhere else. I agree, like at some points, yeah, I wouldn't piece the whole thing together, just work on individual sections. This is one of the next two sections are the hardest.
Okay, so coming into this, so remember right here, this area here is off limits because usually it's gonna be about 5 feet high and there's a flag gonna be right here on this side of the pole, right there. And there's gonna be a flag right there at the edge of this pole, right around that pole. So you have to stay up here in between that area right there when you're doing it. We're just gonna imagine it here. So when you're coming down through it, now so this is actually, people are calling it a power loop. You can power loop it if that's what you're comfortable with. I don't think it's the fastest way personally. I think doing that is faster and you can keep it tighter.
It's basically a corkscrew instead of a loop.
Yeah, corkscrew.
A half roll, half loop. Basically a barrel roll.
So that's the power loop. As you see, with the power loop, you have, it's a blind when you do power loop. And you don't want to ever be blind when you're racing, just because of accuracy, unless you're really, really good. It can cause accuracy issues. And that's something I never want. I always choose a line that's safer for long-term use, for consistency. Now, well, would you agree, Alex, or what?
Oh, I mean,
no, battery.
Anyhow, this is take 2 because we already screwed it up once. So I'd like to talk a little bit about other external factors. That was really good, actually. We have wind, and the wind is actually coming out of the south. Now, you're not gonna be able to tell what south is on the video, but essentially, when he approaches the gates, he has a big tailwind. So what I like to do after I come out of that flag or just into any of these, when you pop over, you know that the wind's gonna be pushing you, so essentially you need to give it more power, and I like to give myself plenty of room as well once I go over. I don't like to be searching for the gate. I like the gate to be there.
That's too tight right there, right?
That's too tight.
Okay.
So just, again, take it one step at a time. So we come around the flag, and you can go wide here, there you go, and just keep that same turn. And what I want you to do this next time, that was pretty good, is keep the bank the same the entire time. Maybe add a tad if you need to roll it upside down. Keep it smooth.
Oh, sheesh.
Yep. I mean, don't hit
We are running 4 feet gates.
4 foot tall, 4 foot wide, or 5 foot wide rather. Anyhow.
So hold this bank.
Hold the bank the entire time. And if you need a little bit more, that's fine.
Yeah, I would need more to get that down.
I think you used a little too shallow of a bank coming into it personally, but I don't know. Since I'm coming at a faster speed, like that. There you go. That was much
So
better.
the bank, when you're going through it and you give it a little throttle, it kind of slows you down, propels you over this line that's going to be right here, and allows you to keep your eyes on the prize.
Yes, and you need to give yourself plenty of time on a maneuver like this because it's really easy to make a little error like I've been doing on the regional qualifiers and crash out. Like that right there, unnecessary, way too tight. It's a nice line, I'll give it to you that if you can pull it off, but you're going to be far more consistent just going a little bit wide, slowing it down going in. Look at that. Beautiful. Now he's also going to have to start thinking about the gate after that, so we'll go ahead and move on to it.
Okay, so
this video.
Nothing really important else to cover on that?
Nope, it's just one of those things you gotta learn it. Keep it smooth, keep it locked in, keep the angles the same so you're doing less work, and then we'll talk about the gate slalom. So this gate slalom right here, he's gonna take about 4 or 5 times through it just to feel it out.
Ooh, that was tight.
Yep. With this, really the way I take it, if you play some of my DVR, you'll be able to see it. I'm taking it super slow. Like he's taking it way faster than I would right now. I mean, I take it dog slow.
Because I'm a beast of a pilot.
Anyhow, like you think so. So take it real slow, like pull it back. And just, the whole goal is to try and create a memory inside your brain of where these gates are. Now your battery's probably dying, so it's probably a good idea to come in. Anyhow, so we're just trying to create a mental memory of where the gates are. This is really, a gate slalom can take you 20 batteries to get down, easily. It's not something you master immediately, no matter how many times you do it. And it's really, what you'll have to do eventually is, right now we're gonna take it really, really slow.
So, yeah, and something important he mentioned, you gotta keep in line the line you're gonna take coming up to that right there also.
So, as you see, he aimed for the second gate, which is perfectly fine. I would personally recommend, with a 4-gate slalom like this, taking it straight on as much as you can. Like this right here is fine, but he's gonna have to roll. And then he also has to think about the gate after that, which is the start gate of the 180. But we're just gonna focus on the gate slalom right now. So again, just aim from gate to gate, kind of think about the next thing you're gonna be doing. As you go through the gate, each individual one, you should already be starting your turn for the next one. So you should start the turn like there, start it now. See how much better that flowed?
Yeah, that was a lot easier.
And you take it really slow. This is something that not gonna likely just pick up and do fast. I mean, I'm sure you could, but to do it consistently, not likely. So right there, you try to take it with a little bit more speed, which is fine. And again, you're not gonna get it perfectly, but you know, you gotta push yourself a little bit. So he's just taking a little bit more speed.
So I'm gonna do the line.
Okay. Like that. And then start the turn. And keep in mind, people may take this really fast, but the likelihood of them having a smooth line exiting out of it is very unlikely. So in my opinion, it's better to slow down and keep it smooth.
Yeah, and I want to make a point, like us mortal pilots, us non-Captain Vanover pilots, if you take it slower, because you saw me, when I try to take it faster, it's a lot more jerky movements on the sticks, which is a lot more room for error to happen when you have to be jerky on the sticks. If you can keep everything very, very sensitive, I'm sorry, not sensitive, very smooth,
Precise,
very precise, without jerking your sticks back and forth, you're gonna have less chance of error happening and you catching a gate. So if you have to slow it down, you may go slow. Oh God, my goggles just went out. They're back. If you have to slow it down to not make errors, you will be better off than the ones that go through full speed and end up crashing out, because you'll make it through and they won't. And in racing, that's what the goal is, to cross the finish line. Oh, too much grass.
Aww. Oh, now you're being the lazy one. Dude, I'm looking at that grass line of sight. Ain't happening. Oh.
Boom!
Gosh. Anyhow.
Okay, so being precise, not jerking the movements too much going through.
Now let's think ahead a little bit after this next one. Let's like, that was really good right there. All right, now go back to it. Okay, never mind. He's just gonna be a doinker and fly the whole course, which is fine. And this is kind of cool because like he's flying this really well. It's cool to see how much Justin's grown. Anyhow.
Ah, the grass got me again.
No, you'll be fine. Okay, so this next time when you go through it, I hate my goggle cable. Next time you go through it, just try and take it with his little young.
Roll only.
Try to roll. Okay.
Oh my God.
Oh, you shouldn't have disarmed. No, my.
All right. Oh God, that's too fucking hard.
Slow down.
You can't slow down once you're already going through it though.
Nope, wrong. Slow down.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
All right, now pull back, way back. There you go.
I don't know how to not use yaw. I don't know how to not to use yaw.
You need to stop thinking about it as like when you take a normal flag slalom, you don't think about it like that. You just think of it as like a flag, like that. There you go. This is one of those things where, to be true to be told, to do a non-yaw gate slalom, you really have to have a good bit of speed going into it. Like, there we go. Like, see, there you go. Was that so hard now?
Actually, it's easier. Okay, so something I noticed, like you said, you have to have more speed, and it's gonna be. This is one of those obstacles if you're learning how to fly a little bit differently. Like that's actually different from how I fly. Because all I want to do is I want to use yaw. Anytime I use roll, I have a little bit of yaw going on, and so doing this without as much yaw is an actual mental struggle for me. So this is something I could probably spend 5 or 6 batteries practicing.
Oh, easily. Way more than that. I've literally, recently I've spent a lot of time. If you ask any of the local guys, every time we go set up a track, it's a gate slalom for me. Because it's such an element that hasn't been incorporated yet. I saw it once in Korea, and I just know one day they're going to pick up on it. But also, it's one of those things where if you master it, it's the most rewarding thing ever.
Okay, so that last one, was that all right?
That was pretty good. All right, let's piece the course together, okay?
Right,
back to the start. Power, go. All right, so you're coming in at the angle. Remember what you learned. Nice. Okay.
Hold the angle.
All right,
pull back.
Now you can take this slow. It's not about setting super fast lap times right now. It's about putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. When you learn piano and you put all the pieces of the puzzle together, you don't play it full out. You know, you're just taking it slow and just seeing how it all flows together. A good term I like to think of is a snake. So basically we took a snake, we chopped it into pieces, and it sounds really violent actually, but anyhow, and now we're basically putting it back into one long snake, one continuous piece, and the goal by doing that is it's a nice smooth line. The entire course should be a nice smooth line. And that's more personal opinion, to be honest.
Well, see, like even Sean Taylor, when he's watching your video and he's commenting on it, he says you fly like a freestyle because it is. It's all very, very smooth and put together. It's not jerky like that. You're not going around. You're not doing a lot of that kind of stuff.
I mean, and some of it is. I still have some of that in my flying, but it's all very predictable and smooth. I'm thinking 2 gates ahead of me. So if I do something like that, it's because I'm thinking ahead, and it's very smooth, and it's, I like to call them slingshots. I know Johnny FPV and Nick Willard do a lot of that stuff where they like sling into trees and whatnot. Like, it's the same thing when you're going around gates. It's the same gyroscopic concept. That made no sense what I just said, but whatever.
Gyroscopic.
Your battery. I swear to God, if you crash into me. Gosh dang, I thought you were gonna He did it anyway.
I couldn't stop. All right, so I'm actually going to run through it one more time with the battery, and I'm gonna comment on it. There's some things there I wanna point out when going around. So like the 180 and putting the obstacles together. So anytime you take a course, it's always a good idea, like you said, to take the snake, chop it up, figure out each portion of the snake. So that's a weird analogy. Figure out each portion of the track. And then you put it,
if you have a better analogy, please.
Yeah, better analogy than cutting a snake up. And then you put it all back together. But when you put it back together, you need to find, so what we're doing, we're finding lines for the 180, we're finding lines for the slalom, we're finding lines for the corkscrew, and then the 4-gate slalom. We're finding those lines, but then when you put it all back together, you need to find the line from the 180 to the slalom, to the corkscrew, to the 4-gate slalom, and back to the 180. So, for example, on the 180, when I hit that flag, instead of turning the flag hard 180 and going directly back towards the gate, if I take the flag a little softer, go a little wider around it, it gives me a better angle coming through the exit gate, and you can basically hold, like he was saying earlier, hold that bank all the way back around until you go past that first flag. And you can hold it a little bit past that first flag before you roll back over, because as he was saying, you want to be able to power through and hug the second flag and then hug the third flag. So if you're going beeline to each flag, you're not going to be able to hug it and pull through at the same time. So if you go a little wide and then you punch through and hug it and then hug the next one, and then finally when you hit the last flag, you hold the angle all the way around and you find the corkscrew, the first gate. And there, that was actually a really good line when he told me to kind of hold it and pull it through a little bit. It takes it slower, but you're not gonna be wasting a lot of energy, wasting a lot of time going up really high with too much speed. And then instead of coming in real tight on the corkscrew, the final gate, I'm gonna try to aim to where I come in at the furthest away pole, because it's gonna line me up for the second gate. And that's just the way I want to enter into the 4-gate slalom. I'd rather it become a 3-gate slalom where that first gate is a non-factor 100%, because that's less effort and less mental effort for me. So here we go, I'm gonna jump in there and fly and try it out. All right, so going through the first gate, gotta find the right line. And then I'll take this one a little bit wider, because that line right there is the one I want, right there. I didn't go as wide right here as I wanted to, and I didn't get that line right either. So we'll try again on the second round. All right, so, oh, come on. It's that super aggressive turtle mode. Koopa mode. All right, so try to take it, this one a little bit wider, so it lines me up right there. And you roll, and you push through, like he said. Take this one a little wider. So I didn't get that. So the line I really wanted to do, I want to hold this line right there, a little throttle, hold it, and now just roll through smooth. A little power bump, go wide. You're on my video right now, dude.
What?
You killed Nadia.
Trying to get away from.
Ah, god damn, it's 4-foot gates.